Hello and welcome to the Wealth Doc Podcast with your host, Mike Heckman. I'm Wendy McConnell. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Oh, fantastic to be here. Thanks, Wendy. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I see we have a guest in the studio.
Yes, we are excited to have Jamie Healy, who serves as the executive director for the Habitat for Humanity in Mason County.
All right.
Hello,
Welcome,
Jamie.
Jamie.
Hi, guys.
Jamie, how long have you been involved with Habitat?
I'm going on my 9th year at Habitat here in the county.
9 years. All right.
Almost 9 years. Yeah, it'll be 9 years in January.
So some of our listeners might not be aware of Habitat for Humanity, or even that we've got a Mason County organization. Can you talk to us a little bit about like what the mission is and what the purpose is for the Habitat for Humanity?
I sure can. I actually, when I started my role, I didn't know that we existed either. So I worked really hard to try and bring that to the community's attention, the things that we do. So we're Habitat for Humanity is a global organization, and they're all a little bit different based on community need and capacity. So we are a very small affiliate. Our traditional goal is to build houses and put people into a homeownership situation. That has, we have we've done about 22 homes in our existence. And as things have kind of evolved in construction, that's making it a little bit more difficult these days. But we all have that goal in mind in the organization, that we want to make sure that everybody has a decent place to live. So that's the mission that we follow, is to make sure that we can be that supportive piece in folks' ability to have safe, affordable, and decent housing.
So, since Habitat has come in this area, your organization's been able to help out with 22 new homes, and you said that when you came to this organization, you didn't even know that it existed. So, what were you doing before you took over Habitat?
I've done a little bit of everything. I've worked at some municipalities. I have a public administration degree, and then I've worked in a lot of nonprofits. I was a business consultant through the Mason County Growth Alliance. So I've done a little bit of nonprofit government work, and all of that prepares me for being in the position that I'm in now.
Awesome. Did you feel like you came in and were able to like handle the reins like great, or was there some learning curve?
No, absolutely. I came in and I was great at it right away.
Awesome. Good. I expected no less.
I mean, I think with everything, there's a learning curve, but you just learn the players, and you learn the donors and your volunteers, and that all evolves as long as it goes as well, because I mean, volunteers come and go, board members change, community partners can be different too. So it's all like ever changing.
So you said that it's a global organization. So how does the Habitat for Humanity in Mason County, how is that different from some of the other habitats?
So one of the things that people may misunderstand is that because we're a global organization, that money leaves the community, and that just isn't so. We have some fees that we have to pay, but it's about a total of about $2,500 currently that leaves the community to go towards the franchise. We tithe, which is to help some of their global missions. And then again, our fees are like $1,500 because we're a small affiliate. So those dollars that get donated to our organization all stay here in Mason County. We're county specific. We're currently in a situation where we can start to explore doing some things in Oceana County. We're not quite there yet, but they have dissolved. And so we're trying to figure out some community partners and try to figure out how that can, how we can help. But currently, as it is, everything that stays in Mason County.
Right on. So some of our local listeners that may be familiar that you have a Habitat for Humanity restore. What is that? How does that work?
So our restore is our largest fundraiser, and it's donated items. We take building materials. Probably our bread and butter of the store are going to be appliances, cabinets, furniture. But we've got home decor, we've got dishes, Honestly, if you're local and you've never been there, you need to stop in because there's a little bit of everything that's there. If you've got things to donate, we have a truck that goes out once a week for larger items for folks who don't have the ability to transport those things. And so that is, the more we can generate out of that space helps provide more funding to the programs that we do to make sure that we're impacting housing here in the county.
So what kind of services does it serve into the county? You know, so like where does that money go that you raise?
Yeah. So again, the traditional habitat vision is that we were creating new homes and putting people into homeownership situations. A couple years ago, however, it became more and more obvious that those challenges between lack of volunteers, increasing cost of building, obviously like labor and materials has continued to grow. So we actually found that there was a gap. And so we shifted, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, to doing basic needs. And what that means is there are a lot of homes in our community that don't have a safe roof. They don't have running water. They don't have adequate heat. And those are pretty substantial things when someone, for your home that we take advantage of on a daily basis that folks just don't have access to. So, when you have a home that your well goes out or a pipe breaks and you can't fix it and you have no running water, if there are any kids in the home, that can be very concerning to keep your family together. Same thing with heat. If there's not adequate heat, oftentimes they're running space heaters, and that's pretty dangerous. And so some of those things, if that gets reported, or if a kid goes to school and says, we don't have any running water, or I'm really cold because we don't have any heat, then other agencies get involved, and we don't want that. We want to keep families together. We want to keep them in their homes, and we want to be a part of that solution. So what we do is we partner with other agencies. So we don't do any direct intake. We partner with the community partners that are already serving these clients, and that serves a purpose in a couple of different ways. One, the client isn't trying to go from agency to agency to agency to try to figure out how to get assistance, right? They're already talking to one person. They're already working with a caseworker. So we just want to streamline that. So I'm a team of one in my office. We've got some staff at the Restore, but in the office and all the housing things that we do, I'm a staff of one. So expediting that in a way that just makes it more efficient with having team or community partners just makes that move a lot faster. So for example, True North is one of our biggest partners that we work with. And so the client starts with them, they get their quotes. True North, the gals that work for them are phenomenal at finding any resources, any pockets of money that they can.
And
like
when True North, I don't even know what True North is.
True North. Okay. So True North is, it's True North Community Services, and I think their corporate office is out of Fremont. But they've got branches here, and they do a variety of things that, there's a self-sufficiency program. They do some utility assistance. They do housing vouchers and helping folks with that. So it's kind of an all-encompassing, nonprofit that helps with different housing needs in terms of utilities or actually rent. I mean, it could be a home, it could be a rental situation, but they're a pretty supportive organization for those things.
So is that a national, or is that a Michigan, or what is that?
I think it's more of a regional organization. Like I said, I think their main office is out of Fremont, and then they serve several counties. I know that they specifically serve, the gals that I work with serve Mason, and I think Mason, Lake, and Oceana County. So they're kind of all over. They stay pretty busy. And so it's important that they have community partners like Habitat to go, okay, so here's a family. This is what they need. They have a quote. We've exhausted all the outlets, but here's this big chunk. And when I say big chunk, I mean, I'm going to say, like, let's use a well. Wells have gone up substantially in the last couple of years. And so most oftentimes, I'll say on an average, we're looking at about $10,000 for a well. If somebody can qualify through a program through the Department of Health and Human Services, they only pay $1,500 towards that. So we get involved. I get the quote from the caseworker, and we contact the vendor or the contractor who's going to do the quote. And I call them up and I'm like, all right, we're paying the bill. Send me that invoice when you're done with it. And then I work with the caseworker and the client, and we have a 25-75 agreement. So we pay 75% of it, and the homeowner is responsible for 25% of that cost. What that does is makes that much more affordable. Obviously, the more funds that they can dip into, we can get that cost down. And so in most cases, I'll say, so a new well would cost anywhere from, I'd say, $1,500 to $2,500 is about what we find. Folks are kind of in that ballpark. Again, every project's different. But so it gets that down to an affordable or a more manageable amount of money for them to come up with to get running water in their home. And so we're here to just make sure that happens, and we can get creative on how, if we have to do payments, or if we can work with other agencies. We've had a couple of years ago for, Christmas. It was like 3 days before Christmas, and it was a family of 4, hadn't had running water for like 3 months. The mom, between her work and the school, they paid for their contribution amount. And 3 days before Christmas, she was sending me a video of her running water. And so that is why I do what I do. It's an awesome thing to be a part of. And that's just one example, but we've done some things like foundation work that's, major problems with foundation work. We've done some electrical issues, but the 3 main things that we work on are, again, a safe roof, running water, and heat.
Wow. So you talked about, I can't imagine like just how impactful that is, having that core, running clean water, is something that I think a lot of listeners be taken for granted. And then also just like serving in Mason County, we've got the people in Ludington and Scottville and, that are part of the main grid, but, you start getting out there and then everybody's relying on well water, so if they you take that for granted.
You really do. And when you think about the number of times, I think sometimes we don't realize how often we go to a faucet, right? So like just to wash your hands or wash off food or to clean something, do laundry, take a shower. Like we go to our water resources often. And when you don't have that, it's a tough deal. We helped a veteran a couple years ago too with it. He hadn't had water in 5 years. He was really resourceful, went down to the local river, filled up jugs for himself. I mean, these are pretty incredible stories. And there are a lot of folks that fall into that category here in our community. And we just want to make sure that we're part of that solution.
Oh, so you mentioned True North. Did you want to give a shout out or talk about any other agencies that's been incredibly helpful for?
Yeah. So a lot of some of our main funding sources come from the Community Foundation, Mason County Community Foundation. They give us a grant every year to keep up this program. The Mason County United Way is another one that helps us fund. They give us a good chunk of money. We've got a great partnership with the local veteran organizations. There's several groups here. There's a countywide trust fund. So if there's a client that's a veteran, it's all hands on deck, and we are all communicating via email. How do we get this done? When it comes to their contribution amount, that group is coming together to make sure that the veteran doesn't have to pay anything or pays very little. They try to get those costs down as much as possible. So we have some pretty incredible partners in our community. We'll work with anybody that does a referral. We've done some things from the schools that call and say, hey, we just have this family. We don't know where to send them. But usually, like I said, my True North has like been my go-to gals. They're awesome, and we work really well. We've got this like a well-oiled machine at this point. So
no pun intended. All right.
Yeah.
So you said that you're a team of one, so what does your support structure look like? Like your volunteers or just like having that network or help me understand that.
Yep. So I have a great leadership team. My board is pretty incredible, very supportive. When I need something, they're there to help and be a helping hand or help me, navigate some resources if that's what I'm looking for. But our community partners are really where it's, I rely on them a lot, which is why, again, when we went to a referral only intake, it just was really helpful to me. So, and again, for the client, I mean, I'm not having to say, okay, here's my form. I also need your income, and I need this and I need that. And so it streamlines, their experience, because when imagine like you're out in the country, you've got some kids, and your well goes out, or your heater, your furnace stops working, and it's getting cold right now, right? The nights are a little frigid. And so you don't, your mind isn't, like all the things, all the places you have to call, or, you're just stressed out, right? You're just trying to make it through the day. So we just try to make sure that we can get this as simplified as possible, making sure that, the caseworker and myself are working as diligently as we can to make sure that the homeowner has some skin in it, right? They have some responsibility there, but at the same time, the more things that we can help do to just make sure that we can just get things done and make it happen, get it on the schedule, and get the project completed as quickly as possible. Our average is about 2 to 3 weeks. So we get things done pretty quickly. And that's, again, with all of our partners, everybody pitches in and makes sure that things happen quickly.
That's fantastic. So with our listeners, how can our listeners or our local people help support your mission at Habitat for Humanity?
I would say the biggest is just dollars. Giving is important. We do have some volunteer opportunities within our restore. We do have a couple of staff, but overall we've got our volunteer opportunities are mostly in our store, only because obviously, going to the programming that we have, volunteers, it's not really volunteer friendly to do HVAC or, well drilling. But so those dollars are important. And one of the things that I have set as a goal for myself, I don't know if anybody's ever gone through any of these programs, but sometimes it's, well, funding's running out, or can't do this project, or get it in quickly because the funding ends at this point. So my goal with our organization is that we never have to turn a project down due to funding. And that's important to me because I want to make sure that we're always around and we're always able to take on whatever project helps change a life, impacts a family, impacts a household, that some of those home repairs don't have to be a stressor. And because again, those are significant things that can really impact your health, and your overall, lifestyle, right? When you're having to, have space heaters and bundle up, or don't have any running water, or every time it rains, you're super anxious because the roof is leaking, or and you're not sure if it's going to make it through this winter because it's, that load of snow might be what it takes to compromise, the structure. So dollars is what we need the most of. And again, it's just because that need is there. And this is the time. The fall is really when we see the most requests, because again, it's starting to get cold, and as winter comes along, some pipes freeze, and we have all these things. Folks kind of forgot about their roof, or weren't thinking about it right now or in the summer, because there was I'm not really worried about it, but now winter's coming and there are things that start to pop on everybody's radar. So those dollars go a long way, and it all goes to make sure that we make it a point not to have to turn anyone down due to funding.
Oh, I'm so glad you came on today. This has been so enlightening on just how important the work that you're doing is. If someone wanted to reach out to you for either make a donation or help out at the store, what's the best way that they could reach out to you?
Probably my email. I know that sometimes we have a website, and it's masoncountyhabitat.org. If you Google Habitat, Mason County, there is another one in the state of Washington. So just make sure that, so we get that a lot. But our website is masoncountyhabitat.org. And my email is hfh.masoncounty@gmail.com.
Awesome.
So yeah, I love my job because it's so impactful, and all of the things and all of the people that we get to touch and be a part of what changes their lives is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's so great. Thank you, Jamie.
Very rewarding, Jamie. And thank you for doing what you do.
Thanks. Well, thanks to all of our partners, because we couldn't do it without our donors and our community partners. I mean, if we didn't have those dollars, we couldn't do the things that we do.
All right. Mike, how can people get in touch with you if they have some questions?
Yeah, we can check us out at thewealthdoc.com, gets you to a landing page on our website at saddlepointwealthmanagement.com. And then our team is at the phones 231-425-4308, 231-425-4308. Yeah, thank you, Wendy.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for listening today. Please like, follow, and share this podcast with your friends. Until next time, I'm Wendy McConnell.